All right, we are live, folks, for the maiden voyage of the Lowco Diamond Dudes. We don't even have a intro or a graphic, an overlay, anything built yet. We're just trying to get this thing off the ground because we tried it at the end of last season and just it was too late. We couldn't pull it together. We recorded one. We had fun with it, didn't we, Mullis? But we didn't get it out there into the world, but it was a good chat anyway. But this is the Lowco Diamond Dudes. We're going to talk high school baseball and softball, probably branch out a little bit into USCB and maybe even what's happening, on the national baseball scene, or if something big happens softball wise. But for the most part, we'll keep it Lowco as we do. And we've got Justin, Jarrett, myself, as well as Wes Kerr as usual. And we've got our buddy Butch, Ned Mullis, Butch Mullis to me. You can call him whatever you want. He responds to most anything, I think. But Mullis, you're here because you are a wealth of baseball knowledge. You're well connected. You talk to everybody involved in the game around the area, and so you've got a lot of insight into the game. And now you're getting blown up on text because you're live on Lowco, I bet. But that's why you're going black over there. But tell us a little bit more about your background in the game, your experience with it, and so that folks understand why we're bringing you in here to help us break it down.
I guess I'm just like your normal old guy. I mean, pretty good little high school player in North Carolina. Went to Pfeiffer College, played there. Kind of got out of the game when I graduated, went to work, and working in the golf industry, and then had some kids and got back into it. And, kind of started coaching, with my son at younger ages, and then found out how small a world it is. The baseball world is so small, and the friendships and things you made when you were playing in college, man, they just never leave you. And when I started seeing people again, it just all came back. It was like I wasn't gone for 10 or 15 years, and started coaching some local high school here and have been doing it ever since.
Yeah, it's really cool, the relationships that you forge in any sport, but especially the family, the well-knit group of communities that we see across all levels of baseball, from the youth levels up to high school, college, and professional. When you have that band of brothers in the baseball diamond, those connections never fade, and you just get to always, savor and enjoy those friendships that you make on the field, which is really cool. And, baseball, the culture and the environment is always a really fantastic thing to be a part of. And, baseball's been a big part of my life over the years. I used to play back at the HHBA when I was a kid, and then went on to cover and call a bunch of baseball in college and beyond as a play-by-play guy. But baseball's been a big part of my life. And what has this game meant to you over the years as someone who has been very immersed in the sport?
Oh, it's just my wife said she's finally figured out it's my passion. It is so. I mean, when it's everything. It's from the field maintenance to the prep. Be honest with you, Justin knows this.
Yeah,
I could do without the games. I love the practice. I love the preparation. I love everything about, just watching these kids get better and know they're getting taught the right way. And, that makes me happy.
I'm with you, man. It's a wonderful feeling when you watch them do it and they do it the way you taught them and it works and they have success. And it's such a hard game. It is so hard to play it well and take so much work to get good at it. And Rick Sofield always used to say to me, this, as soon as you think this game think you got this game figured out, it's going to jump up and punch you in the face. And you see it happen over and over again. But man, when you can harness it and do it well, it's a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of. And that's what we're here for. We want to talk baseball, shine a light on the kids that are doing it the right way, the coaches that are doing it the right way. You're over at May River, of course, a longtime assistant coach over there, helping out Al Schmidt this year. You guys had a tough one last night. Bobcats came back and got you after you beat them on Monday. But let's kick it around a little bit about what we've seen over the last week or so. And we'll start there because, May River getting the 8-4 win at Bluffton on Monday. Bobcats bounce back 6-3 on Wednesday last night. And then same thing on the softball side with May River winning at Bluffton on Monday, and then the Bobcats coming back and winning on the road on Wednesday. So, kind of your takeaways there. We've talked a lot on the other podcasts about how even this Region 7 is going to be in baseball, how we think anybody can beat anybody any given night, and whoever can steal a couple, is going to be the one that comes out on top. But how do you see it shaking out after we've seen a week of region play now?
Well, that was pretty simple how this worked out. Our Division I guy Monday night was the best player on the field. Tyson Brazington just was phenomenal. Their Division I guy was the best player on the field last night. Cody was phenomenal. And you're not going to, when you get a kind of effort like that guy had, 111 pitches, he just, you weren't getting him off that mound.
Not till he hit the max.
He was going to fight you. And I mean, I tell you what, that guy, sky's the limit for that guy. Hey, you very rarely see, and Tyson's very much the same way. I mean, these guys, how we talk about loud tools? Yeah. Those guys have loud tools. I mean, they both have phenomenal. I mean, they both got plus arms. They're both sub 6'7". They're 6'6", 6'7" guys. Yeah. They're fast.
Brad's got 30 stolen bases already.
I mean, that guy, look, I never look at, and he affects the game. Yep. Yeah. He affects the game. I mean, it is, when he is on the bases, he is a problem. That's and I mean, you can hold. I mean, we held him good. I mean, the time he stole second base last night, Trace won 9, and he beat him. And we held him.
You can't do better than that. A sophomore in high school can't do much better than that.
I mean, Trace can't throw a baseball better than that. And I felt like we did a pretty good job of holding him when we didn't throw it away. And, but it was those guys, they'll battle you. Their Bluffton's going to be good. It's like you touched on. Hilton Head. Hilton Head's been beating up on a lot of people.
Man, that lineup's kind of a murderer's row.
Y'all seen some of these scores? I mean, I haven't seen them play yet, but
I have.
Unfortunately, I've had conflicts the last few days, and just haven't been able to make it out to high school baseball at all. Which I mean, it is the way it is when you're working here. You got a lot to cover. So hopefully I'll be able to make it out to some baseball and softball games soon. But that was a nice win for Hilton at 10-0 over Colleton County. Jake Richardson, 5 no-hit innings on the mound, and struck out 5, walked 3. So excellent night for Richardson, taking care of business against Colleton County, and some damage being done at the plate as well. Brad Larson 3 for 4. Ethan Russo, who's had a really nice year with 3 hits, drove in 3 runs. So don't sleep on the Hilton Head team. And I know I'm always a homer and seemingly always biased on these shows because of the Hilton Head crowd, but I do like what they're doing over there. Joe Clark over there coaching a couple of years, and this team I think is really starting to turn the corner. But we'll see. Obviously, a lot more big tests coming up for the Hilton Head Seahawks as we look towards the rest of the season. May River, 2 big ones against the Sharks coming up next week, Monday the 27th and Wednesday 29th. Can't wait to watch both of those. I'll be there on both those nights. So really, really excited for that one. Seahawks taking on the May River Sharks. That's been a great rivalry over the years. 2 against May River, 2 against Bluffton. So there's really your season right there. If you can find a way to at least split or take 3 out of 4 there, that's going to put you in a very, very good spot if you're Hilton Head. So a couple big weeks ahead for the Seahawks, and I'm very impressed and excited for what's to come. Obviously, some big games that will determine a lot going forward.
Yeah, and James Island will be really good too. But talk a little bit about Clock. I was going to set you up to talk a little bit about Clock because he does a great job over there.
And let me tell you, it starts with he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
I never say that about pitchers, but it's for a pitcher, he's a really good guy. And now Joel, we talked about this. We touched on this last week. The depth in the coaching around here is just crazy. Yeah. I mean, Coach Schmidt is, a head coach in Tecumseh, Michigan for 15, 18 years an assistant on top of that. I mean, look up that program sometime. I mean, it's pretty dang impressive. Joel, look at what he's done at Hilton Head. I mean, he took over for, Susie did a great job. And then Joel just comes in and it's seamless behind that. You couldn't, I mean, you can go by and watch teams do it the right way, and they do it the right way. The way they read dirt balls, watch Hilton Head when you go watch them play and watch how well they do on the bases. Yeah. They constantly run the base. No, I'm not talking about speed wise. I'm not talking about stealing bases. They're the best team we play all year long, every year, on reading dirt balls and getting extra bases. And that's not by coincidence. They obviously work on it. They obviously teach it well. Yeah. And those kind of things win games. They'll win you close games. And Joel does a fantastic job with that stuff. And,
not to toot our own horn, but our 12U team spent about 20 minutes on dirt balls the other day. So.
Well, I mean, it's just part of the game. It's
a huge part of the game. It gets you out of force situations. It puts pressure on the defense. I mean, all kinds of good things happen when you take those extra bases. So
but
it matters.
You got Joel, Coach Kitty. Shit, how long? Kitty's been along how long? Kitty's
forever. Hall of Famer.
He's an institution over there.
Shane Monahan doing a heck of a job at Buford. We've known him
my goodness.
Good while. He's raising the level of youth ball around here too. So,
and another thing, what's
JW
Jermaine,
at Hilton Head Christian? Goodness, Jermail Page at Colleton County. Jermail Page.
Page. I have a friend that was Jermail played for at USC Salcahatchee, Bubba Dorman, who is also a legend. Great Bubba told me he's his favorite favorite player he ever coached. That's all I need to know. Yeah. And you go watch Colleton County. Colleton County is well coached. Yeah. I mean, and that was a thing about Hilton Head's win last night. I saw those two pitchers they beat last night.
Yeah.
They're young, but they're good. Both of those guys are good high school pitchers. So they beat up on a couple pretty good pitchers last night.
And Colleton's lineup ain't bad either. I mean, that catcher, J.C. Poe, is a dude, and they got some players.
They are young. And did anybody look at the arm speed on some of those guys that they pitch, those young guys? Yeah. You can teach a lot of stuff as a pitching coach. You can't teach arm speed.
Right.
That's the good Lord gave you some of that. Yeah. And, and those guys have it.
All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here and turn two. Now we've led off. Let's turn two. Each of us go around and shout out one pitcher and one hitter who have kind of impressed us this season or stood out to us. And Wes, do you want to take the lead?
Yeah. For my pitcher, I'll go with Peyton Bullock over at Hilton Head Prep, who tossed a 7-inning complete game shutout against Hilton Head Christian Academy 3-0 over in Sea Ponds back on Monday. 7 innings. Struck out 9, complete control out there on the mound, didn't walk anybody. That's an all-around sensational performance there from Peyton Bullock, who they're going to need to, it's always nice to have that ace pitcher in your pocket to, set the tone in a big series like that in the middle of the season, then continue to do that as the year goes on. So it's terrific outing from Peyton Bullock for Hilton Head Prep, leading the Dolphins to a victory and eventually the 2-game sweep as they took down Hilton Head Christian Academy again on Wednesday. Just last night by a score of 6-5. So much closer game in game 2. But Peyton Bullock, the reason why they won game 1 in dominant fashion, 3-0. And for my hitter of the week, I mean, this guy kind of played both ways, but I'll put him in the hitting column. Tyson Brasington, 4 for 4 with 2 doubles, 4 for 4 with a double, 2 runs, and an RBI. And also went 6 innings and earned the win on the mound. So excellent job there by Brasington. I really like the way this May River Sharks team is playing. They did get beat the other day, but that was a nice upset win over by Bluffton. But Brasington was one who was really impressed me by his ability to produce on both ways as a pitcher and at the plate. And one of those guys who the Sharks are going to have to count on as the season rolls on. So a lot of strong choices, but I'll go with those two for my pitcher and hitter.
Yeah, good choices there, and we've lost Mullis. I don't know where he dropped out to, but hopefully we'll get him back in here momentarily. So I guess I'll go second in the draft here, and I'm going to throw out some softball kids in there too. Actually, yeah, I will. Pitching wise, on the baseball side, gosh, I've seen some really good ones. I can't even decide on one. I'm going to go Miles Fry from Bluffton. I've seen him a number of times this year. He has been tremendous. They've got a little bit of pitching depth, but he's really clearly kind of been the number one, although Cody Bryant was very good last night. Nico Martucci has had some great outings, but Fry, he's got a wicked breaking ball that he can throw for strike anytime he wants and pitch guys backwards and keep them off balance. And still, got another year too. So, I think he's a dude, no question. He's been very impressive for Bluffton this year. As far as bats, man, there are so many to choose from, but I'll go Steel Bird over at Hilton Head Christian because every time I've seen him this year, I think he's hit a tater. He's hit some monster shots out of
moonshot a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he hit one that I thought was going on the Parkway off Miles Fry, as a matter of fact. But Miles was coming in relief on short rest there, and probably shouldn't have been pitching if we're being honest. But left one over the plate, and Steele absolutely punished it. He's committed to Clemson, and he's going to be an absolute dude, and hopefully get good news on him today because he did leave the game early last night. Started and went 2 1/3 and then left. And, from my understanding, x-rays were negative. So that was good news. But, hopefully MRI is positive, negative, but positive development as well for Steele because he's a tremendous player. And you certainly don't want to see his season cut short by injury or anything like that. So hopefully he's well and can continue even if he's not pitching. Hopefully he can DH for a while and get back behind the plate because tremendous catcher. But Mullis, you missed the first 2 rounds, buddy, of the draft. But Wes went.
My phone
got you in the rocking chair.
The temperature thing caught on my phone. I had to get out. Sorry about that.
Got too hot. Gotcha. Well, we've gone 2 rounds here. Wes went with Peyton Bullock at Hilton Head Prep as his pitcher, and your guy Tyson Brasington as his hitter, although he's been a tremendous pitcher as well. And then I just went with Miles Fry and Steel Bird. So give us a shout out on a pitcher and a hitter that have impressed you.
Oh, can I just vote for Cody Brett after last night for both of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's on the board. Yeah. Now he's off the board.
He left an impression. No, definitely
Yes.
as a pitcher. Who I've been impressed with as a hitter for a long time is Nico Martucci.
Yeah.
Nico's he's a tough little out. He does a pretty good job. You make a mistake, he's going to hit it. He hit a 2-strike curveball last night, set back, drove it to right field. It was kind of stuff you put in a textbook.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he's impressed me over the years as well. One person we left out in the coaching, and I hate to go back on this, but I can't leave him out. He called me this morning, giving me a hard time first thing in the morning to make me even feel better. It was Chris Wells.
Yeah.
That was last night. But let me tell you, and I told him this, Chris Wells had a lot of baseball teams and has won a lot of games. If you look at his record, what's he win at about a 750 clip, somewhere through that?
It's impressive.
Yeah. And, it's not taking him 20 years to win a lot of games. He wins. Chris Wells has won a lot of baseball games.
And on that note, them sweeping Hilton Head Christian is pretty impressive to me.
Is this arguably not the best job that guy's ever done?
Dylan Price was going over the game last night. He texted me, "Who are the dudes for Hilton Head Prep?" And I said, "They don't really have dudes. They just got a bunch of really solid players who play good team baseball. They don't have that standout guy who's like a D1, prospect. Like they just got a bunch of good little ball players who play good team ball, and Wells knows how to put them in positions to win. They put pressure on the defense. They make things happen. They're well coached, and the little things matter, and they win a lot of games that they probably don't have any business winning."
He's got old Don Zimmer sitting over there as the bench coach too. He's pretty good.
That's Susie? Is that Susie you're calling Zimmer?
Susie's pretty good.
Tell you what, you need veteran leaders to propel a team. And how about Pace Gardner with a really quiet, strong performance on both on the mound and at the plate to got the win, 3 strikeouts in 2 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, and then went 3 for 4 with a pair of doubles and drove in 2 runs. That's a guy who's been around the system for a while, knows how to produce for Chris Wells, knows that system so well. And, being able to be in that for a while has really helped him deliver in these big moments now.
Well, he got the 2 out. He had to win it last night, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, he's playing really well in the leadoff spot.
That's been another kid that's been fun to watch progress.
Yeah.
And that's another guy that's got a lot of tools. Pace, we were talking, Chris and I were talking about him this morning. Pace could put on 30 pounds in college and hit for power.
Yeah.
And Pace is fast too. He's another problem on the bases. Good all around baseball player. Steele Bird, you brought up Steele. Hopefully nothing's wrong with that kid and he bounces back. But boy, you want to talk about a guy that I've seen one player that I can compare Steele to, and that was Tater Goodson. I had never seen a kid more. Tater was ready for division. It's hard. It's hard to sit here and say that you've ever got a catcher that's ready for Division I baseball, because they're really not. Physically, you're not ready for that toll. You might think you are, but you're not. Tater was ready for it. He just got a bad fit with a coaching change at the Citadel, but he went on to put up some pretty damn good numbers at Spartanburg Methodist over the years. But Steele Bird, he physically, I think he's going to be able to do it. I think he'll be able to play early.
Yeah, he's very impressive. And again, we not trying to throw up any red flags or anything, but he did leave the game early last night. So we're just doing our due diligence and hoping for good news today on Steele, and he can get back out there. But all right, guys, well, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then we will come back with more. We will go deep, talk about who's going to have a shot to go deep in the postseason, and then we'll name our players of the week here on the Lowco Diamond Dudes. We'll be right back with more.
Hey Lowco sports fans, this podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you, because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of lowcosports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-to-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of lowcosports.com. Go Lowco.
And we're back, and Mullis has another backdrop. Every time we come back on, Mullis has a new background. Good stuff.
I'm getting more comfortable with this.
Yeah, we're easing you into it. You know, you're this is new for you, but it's all good. All right, guys. Well, having fun so far, but before we get any deeper, let's talk a little bit of softball because we haven't really gotten into that. I've seen a good bit of softball. I've seen Bluffton a couple of times. Saw him against May River this week. I've seen. Who else have I seen? Mostly Bluffton, I guess. I saw them play Battery Creek once, but I like that Bobcats team. They're really fun. Alyssa Rose going to USCB, Katie Ryan going to King University, and Parker Ray going to Embry-Riddle. All really fun players to watch. I like Ava Rogers, their number 2 hitters, doing a nice job. Sydney Pollockwood came in last night and pitched really well, kept the Sharks off balance, and then Rose was able to come and finish it off. And I've seen Rose hit 2 absolute tanks this week, as well as one by Casey Lang. That was a monster shot. She's going to Belmont Abbey from May River. But you guys have been able to – you haven't seen much softball yet, have you, Wes?
I have not. I've been busy with USCB softball. I've seen a lot of them, but not much in terms of high school so far. But, you know, one name that we haven't really spotlighted as much that certainly deserves attention is Kylie Rass. Just to start her season. Struck at 11 in a 7-inning no-hit win over Battery Creek 5-1, one run given up, but no earned runs. Walked 2, but did not get a hit. And man, Kylie Rass. I mean, I remember we were talking a couple of years ago. We were talking to her and her parents, and just having a conversation about her career and how it's going so far. And I'm just so impressed by how she has developed as a ball player and how she's come on to become a dominant pitcher in the softball ranks here in the Lowcountry. And just impeccable control. Messes with your timing. That's what the best pitchers do in the game of softball. And I cannot wait to see her in action this year and a bunch of other softball players because, as you alluded to, we've got some exceptional talent in the softball ranks. I mean, we've had some state champions in the past, and I think we have some teams that will be contending deep in the postseason. A lot of talent, especially some going to the next level, as you mentioned. So excited to go out there and watch some softball in these coming weeks and the coming months of the season. But man, Kylie Rass, someone who I have had my eye on, really enjoyed watching her highlights. What a talent out there in the circle for Beaufort High.
Yeah, she's terrific, and her dad doing a good job over there too. Scott Rass coaching that softball team, but that Battery Creek team she hit the other night. Like that's a well coached team. Bob Lehman coaches that team, and he's been kind of the dean of travel softball coaches around here for a long time with the Bluffton Badcats. So that was an impressive showing from her. And then Adeline Johnson has been nearly as good when she's pitched. They've allowed like 1 hit and 1 run in their last 4 games. It's crazy. How dominant they've been. But Mullis, you been catching any softball? I know you check out those baby sharks every now and then.
I watched Casey Lang take BP the other day and asked Gleason if we could have her to hit 3 or 4 for us.
No kidding, dude. It's
Oh,
impressive.
go over there and watch BP one day. I mean, it was missile after missile after missile. And
That one she hit the other night was no joke. I mean, good night. It was impressive. I'm going to see if I can find it. You keep talking softball.
I'll say this: they better be good, because out of all the sports I've ever seen, the two sports I think with the biggest jump from high school to college is women's softball and men's basketball.
And speaking of softball in the Lowco, out Carleton County, 16-0 over Hilton High. Shandy Brown, Michaela Chisholm, they've got some talent to plate. And Bailey Cox doing it in the circle as well, 3 innings and struck out 3, didn't walk anybody. So Carleton County, certainly we've seen them a couple of years of talent over the diamond. I think that's going to continue.
But they've been good for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they're very good. They're always good. I mean, look at that complex in Walterboro. I mean, that thing is packed with softball every weekend. They have much better youth softball program than we have here.
We got our idea for our hitting facility from their softball.
Yeah, they're really good. And a bunch of those girls play Bad Cats too for Lehman over the years. So, there's no coincidence there. But West, they also beat them 20-0 last night. And Lanasia Sanders threw a no-hitter, and Michaela Chisholm and Bailey Cox combined to go 7 for 7 with 2 triples, 4 runs, 2 RBIs.
Have a night.
They're legit. They're I think they may even be the favorite to win the region for me. I just think they're really strong. I'm not sure that Bluffton has the pitcher, that
can that's really... also a place. You want to talk about a great environment?
Oh, yeah.
Man, they draw for softball.
Yes, they do. I was out there for that lower state championship or lower state semifinal they played against.
I don't know if you can call it a Friday Night Lights thing, but man, it looks like it's 800 people over there for a softball game.
It was packed when I was out there a couple years ago for that lower state semifinal game against Darlington. It was awesome, or final, whatever that was. It was a huge game, and it was a phenomenal environment. You're absolutely right about that. But I do have this home run from Casey. Ooh, got it.
Good night.
It's about floating around the bases.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice little swing she's got. She's got it pretty honed in. I'm working on my focus.
I'm not sure, but it looks repeatable.
Yeah, she can swing it pretty good. And Alyssa Rose hit a absolute tank. I'll show it on last night in the Lowco today, but it was a good one last night. Straight away center. That girl can launch it too. So it's been fun watching those softball teams. But let's go deep now, as we promised. We can talk a little baseball, a little softball. But give me a couple teams that you think are poised to make a deep run in the playoffs. And Wes, you can start us off.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at some of these teams in the region 7-4. I think James Island is the gold standard still. But when you look at teams here in the Lowco, I despite the loss to Bluffton, I do still like May River as a team that I think has potential to make a deep run. I think it's going to come down to the starting pitching. If you have that depth pitching wise, that's always an enormous for a team as you get into the postseason. And you have the depth for guys to create strong at bats and get on base and be able to drive runners in. I think May River's done a good job of that so far, and now they get to see some adversity after losing to a region rival. But I do still think this May River team has that, the talent and the depth to make that deep run. But a couple other teams that I'll have my eye on. Hilton Prep put together a nice 2-game sweep over Hilton Christian Academy. When you have that, you mentioned it, Justin, but with the strong coaching of Chris Wells and just enabling that team, all those 9 players on the field in the lineup to find ways to produce, get on base, and even though you don't have that star, you have so many guys find ways to contribute, find ways to use the talent to their advantage. That's going to be a tough thing to beat come playoff time if they continue to do that. So really like Hilton Prep, and I really like their opportunities to create for themselves a heck of a season going forward. That's a big 2-game sweep over Hilton Christian Academy. I thought the Eagles may have had them this year, but not the case. Hilton Prep still the king of that rivalry on the diamond. So I do like this Prep Dolphin team. Beaufort High, that's a team you can't count out no matter the sport. I mean,
Yeah.
you just look at the championship mentality on the football field, basketball court. Some of those same guys are in that, that baseball team. And despite that, even some of the other guys, they just show that same hunger, that same fight. And I really like what that Beaufort High baseball team is doing. Lots of talent on that roster as well, but you just that grit, that tenacity to find ways to win. That is just apparent in so many of these Beaufort High squads, and they all share those commonalities of that clutch play and just that that extra effort that determines a winner in big contests, down the stretch of the season into the playoffs. So really like Beaufort, what they're doing over there. And, on the softball side, Colleton County, that's a terrific group, team that went deep a few years ago. Colleton Prep won a state championship a few years and back in 2021. So lots of, history, strong history in the softball diamond in Hampton County, in Colleton County. I could definitely expect to see that Cougars team make another run at it this spring. And, don't count out some of these other squads because we have a lot of talent on the softball side of things. But I do think Colleton County, you're looking at the team that could be the front runners over there. So I'm sure there's a few I missed. So fill me in on some others that you think could go deep.
Yeah, Mullis, who do you miss?
Well, you got to kind of quantify it by 4A and 3A.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Buford's going to go deep.
Yeah.
They're
in really good shape to win that region,
and they're
set
going to
themselves
get
up well.
pitching. Now, Hanahan's going to be good.
Yeah.
But the thing about
but getting
3A,
two from Philip Simmons was huge because now if Hanahan and
they're
Philip
good.
Simmons
They'll be
split, then you just got to split. Yeah.
They'll be at the Yard tomorrow night. Now, that's a good baseball team. We play them tomorrow night. And they'll be mad from that last time we played them. The 3A, by coaching both into 4A and 3A ranks, 3A, obviously it's not as deep, earlier in your rounds. But, boy, when you get into that second round, it's the same guys, and they are always good.
You're always going to have to mess with Gilbert or somebody, and they'll give you problems.
Yeah. Those guys. I mean, they're a lot. The top end of 3A is every bit as good as 4A. It's just, of course, you just don't have the depth. As far as 4A goes, making a run, it's going to depend on your seeding. I love the South Carolina high school playoff format. There's no better format. I mean, you get that first weekend's like a regional round, and it is so. But I mean, there's a beauty and a curse to that. The beauty is you want to play college baseball, you're getting.
Yeah. The
curse is you might catch that Aiden Palmer kid from South Florence, and he's a problem, And so who are you going to match up with? The big arms aren't there as much this year. They're you've got a bumper crop of freshmen in college right now that were big arms.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it a little bit more wide open.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think so. And I'll throw a couple more teams in there that we haven't mentioned, and one of them being Patrick Henry, who I think's got a chance to go really deep.
Who evidently has a big arm.
Charlie Sauls is an absolute dude. I mean, he shut out Hilton Head Prep once, and then he went 9 against them the second time to beat him. So that guy is legit. And I got to see them against John Paul II the other day, and they got some big old jokers in that lineup who can hit the heck out of it. The Ferry boys are obviously tremendous athletes, every sport, and they're going to be able to plug and play wherever you want. The catcher, Chandler Brown, apparently he's not thinking about playing college baseball, but he certainly could. His bat is loud and he looks really good behind the plate. And, they got a bunch of guys who are contributing there, a lot like Hilton Head Prep, sort of, in a way, where it's just a team effort and, everybody do your part, pass it down and keep going. They started off tough, but they played a really tough schedule and tested themselves, and they've been playing well lately. So I think they're going to be a factor and could go deep. I think Hilton Head Christian is still a sleeper. I think they were kind of out of sorts this week. They had guys suspended from the deal at Battery Creek and lost to Hilton Head. And then, I think they were just kind of in a funk this week, and then Steele leaving the game early obviously had an impact last night. But I think they're good enough to beat Hilton Head Prep in a 1-game situation, even in a 2 out of 3 potentially. That could go either way. So, I think those two teams are going to be in the mix in 3A. Prep's going to have the upper hand now seeding wise. So that's definitely going to help as far as who you see in those first couple of rounds. But they're both in the mix. And then I think Hilton Head's a sleeper baseball wise. I think that lineup is rock solid top to bottom.
The snot out of some good teams.
And they got some pitching depth. They don't have a guy who wows you like a shutdown ace, but man, they got a bunch of dudes who are going to get out there, throw strikes, pitch to contact, and they're going to play defense behind them. And they're going to score runs. So, I think they're going to be a real problem.
That was another guy. How did none of us not mention that Russo guy as a hitter?
Oh,
I
well,
hadn't seen him
hey! I was about.
Wes shouted him out earlier.
Oh, did you?
We still have one more segment, don't we?
We still have players of the week. But that guy is a problem.
If we're going by Twitter clips, he might be the winner.
Yes, absolutely.
There's some hard hit balls that I see getting tweeted out by that guy.
But man, they got a bunch of good ball players. Jake Richardson is just a great baseball player. Slater Alsobrooks, just a sophomore, batting leadoff. He's going to be a dude. Brad Larson's been tremendous for them. Jackson Bybee is tall drink of water who can swing it, and they got a bunch of dudes.
Freshman, he was good then.
He was real good then, and he's real good now. So, that's a deep lineup that is going to be a problem. And I think they've got a great shot to go deep. And then Wade Hampton, don't sleep on Wade Hampton in 2A. I mean, they're not going to get past like an Oceanside Collegiate or somebody, but they're a solid little ball club too. And in 2A, they'll make some noise. So, and then on the softball side, I'm with US. I think Colleton's kind of the team to beat, but I do think Bluffton's offense is going to be trouble in the postseason. I mean, they got some kids who aren't going to be intimidated by good pitching. They're probably going to thrive against better pitching. They were really thrown off by Kaylee Smith and the off-speed stuff Monday night, but I think they're going to thrive against good pitching and hit their stride at the right time. So I think they could be a problem too. And then, that Beaufort softball team also, the pitching's so good. And in softball particularly, a great pitcher can really neutralize a good offense. So we got a lot of teams that I think are going to be, making some noise in the playoffs. We're going to have to work late into the spring this year, Wes. It's going to be a blessing for sure. But all right, guys, well, let's name our players of the week, and then we'll get out of here. So give me a baseball player and a softball player if you can.
All right. As you guys alluded to, I was saving my Ethan Russo pick in my back pocket for the end, and that's who my player of the week is for the Hilton Head High Seahawks. And big week for Russo, who has been money at the plate so far. Went 3 for 5, a double, drove in 3 runs in the first game this week on Monday against Colleton County. Then went back for game number 2 of that series and came through again. 3 for 4, drove in 3 runs and scored 1 run. So big day, both of these 2 games at the plate. And man, you look at the depth and all of the strong abilities that they have at the plate. I think this Hilton Head team, if an offense like this can get hot late in the season, there's no reason that it can't make a surprise deep run in the playoffs. So really like the way Joe Clark is building and elevating this Hilton Head team so far this year. Excited to catch some games at Ron Costello Field later in this coming week against May River. Going to be some good ones over there at the Nest. Then for my softball player, I'll go with Casey Lang. Man, what a terrific hitter that she has become. Double, a home run, an absolute moonshot. Also walked twice, so good discipline at the plate as well. In that 15-11 slugfest over the Bobcats, man, that game was unbelievable. Huge performances on both sides, and then that one. But Casey Lang has been eye-popping good so far this year for the May River Sharks.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Really, really impressive hitter, and she's really good at third base too. Going to be a good one for Belmont Abbey. Mullis, who you got for your players of the week, buddy? It's okay to be a homer too if you need to.
Yeah, I'm taking Tyson.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be hard to. That guy. What a week. I mean, did he make an out? What? Maybe 1, maybe 2. Maybe. I think he struck out once last night, but he was. That guy was on base all week long.
He was 2 for 4 last night, 4 for 4 Monday. So pretty.
But
decent
he's
week.
been on base all season long. I mean, and I was talking to Shane about him the other day. He doesn't take a bad batting practice. That guy's. I mean, he is in there with a purpose every day, and he's just been. It's just that guy's blossoming. You can watch it happening. And his at bats are, they are good at bats right now. And I don't get to see a lot of softball, but I've been watching Casey Lang since she was 7 years old, and she's raked since then. And I always say, people ask me about baseball players, and Carter Holton's the Friday night guy for Vanderbilt. Well, guess what? Carter Holton was the best player when he was 7 years old, and he's the best player now. And Casey's a lot the same way. And, she's been good for a long time.
Indeed. All right. Well, I will go. Gosh dang. It's so many. It's drinking from a fire hose right here. I got so many guys to pick from. I was looking at Logan Brutcher. He's had a couple good games.
He got a bunch of hits this week.
And he's a terrific hitter too. But man, Brad Larson went actually Jake Richardson. Jake Richardson went 2 for 3 with an RBI on Monday against Colleton County, and then in the rematch he threw the no-hitter over 5 innings, and he also went 2 for 4 with the double and 2 RBIs. But Brad Larson 3 for 4, 2 runs, 3 RBIs last night, and he was 3 for 4 on Monday as well. So both of those guys, terrific weeks. I'll go Jake Richardson and Brad Larson. Give the Seahawks lots of love.
Three
But Brutcher
teammates on their Players of the Week for Hilton.
Well, I mean, they had a heck of a week. I
think we'll be watching a little
Love
video on this Larson kid for a couple of days here.
Yeah,
that is one good thing about Twitter and stuff. You can actually get a little scouting report now.
There you go. Yeah, well, you can go on Game Changer and
Game
watch the
Changer
old
and
replays
everything too.
But mom and dad take better video. I've found the ones from the stands are a little bit better than
Oh,
the
yeah.
Game Changer
They
videos.
mean
They
more.
get better zoom on it.
We'll be looking at a little Game Changer here for the next few days. I promise you.
Brad's a good little player. We had his little brother try out with us, do a little tryout with us, and we were going to take him on our team, and then he ended up going a different direction because he had a team some buddies were on. But he's a good little ball player too, Kyle, a little 12-year-old. So they're raising good ball players in the Larson family for sure. And I got to talk with Steve the other night, and he's a good dude. So lots of love for all those guys. And then my softball player, I'm going to go Alyssa Rose. I'm going, I mean, Kylie Rass, but Alyssa Rose hit 2 absolute mammoth tanks. Her back's really bothering her. She's not really a pitcher, but she's the best they got. So she's been a warrior and going out there every night. And she came in relief last night and locked down a win after hitting a tank to center. So I'll throw Alyssa Rose some love. But man, Katie Ryan's my girl too. She was 4 for 4 last night. Made a diving catch in center. Love to watch her play. She's just a tremendous talent who plays really hard. So lots of love to go around, and we'll spread some more out next week. This is just the first time, but that's our players of the week. We threw a few extras in there with shout outs, but this was fun, guys. I enjoyed it. And we got lots of great material to talk about as we go forward this season.
Yeah. Any games you guys are looking to head to in particular next week? I'm really excited for that Hilton Head May River game on the baseball side. I cannot wait for that one. The 2 teams who I think could find a way to make deep runs to the playoffs. So that game could go a long way in terms of postseason seeding.
Yeah, I like that one. Obviously, the May River Hilton Head games are huge. Bluffton James Island is interesting.
Is that next week?
Yeah, they'll be at Bluffton on Wednesday, so that'll be very interesting. Let's see what else we got in there.
When does Buford play Hanahan?
They don't play Hanahan for a little bit yet. I think they finished the season with them.
That might be really good for them. They're going to keep developing those pitchers.
Buford's going to be good. Yeah, they don't play Hanahan until the 16th and 18th, or the 18th and 21st. Sorry, they play Tuesday, Friday.
Oh, that's after that hit tournament too.
It is. Yeah, it is. And Buford's in that hit tournament, so that'll be. Are you guys in that?
Yeah.
That'll be a fun week too. That's up at Woodland. Is that where that is?
Hanahan would all those. Oh,
Hanahan. That's right. It's Hanahan's tournament. That's right. But they play it all over up there. So
we play North Stanley, which is about 20 miles from where I grew up.
I was going to say, is that near Trinity?
Yes, sir.
That's a NASCAR country.
Yeah, they end up. They it's going to be interesting because they have some players normally.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That'll be pretty tough.
Buford played up my high school rival last year, Randleman, who had a first-round draft pick. That I'm not sure they saw him, but those guys. Some of the North Carolina teams come down, and the scrub teams don't make the trip. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's true. That's usually the case. So you don't usually go on long trips if you're not any good. You usually go on a long trip if you plan on winning. So bringing home a trophy. But softball side, you got James Island and Bluffton as well next week. Could be interesting. I think James Island's pretty solid. And then you got Lucy Beckham and Colleton. So we'll just start to see a little more litmus test on how people stack up against each other. And it's apples to oranges right now as far as the level of competition they've played, and it can really throw you for a loop if you're just looking at records. But definitely, lots more to unfold here over the next few weeks, just getting into region play, and we'll be back next week to recap it all for you. So thanks to everyone who joined us here on the Lowco Diamond Dudes maiden voyage, and especially thanks to our sponsors who make it possible. If you'd like to sponsor the show or all of our content here at Lowco Sports, you can hit me up at locosports@gmail.com, and we'll get you started with a monthly sponsorship. Or if you're an individual who would like to support us, you can pledge $1 or more at patreon.com/locosports every month and help us keep going and growing. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Lowco Diamond Dudes. Thanks so much, Wes Kerr and Butch Ned Mullis. We'll be back next week. Until next time, go Lowco.